All right, here we are this morning out with Rufus. We're just practicing our patient sit here for a second. We've been out for a walk. We went out and did about a half-mile bike ride where he trotted and loped along and ran alongside me. He does pretty good alongside the bike. Sometimes I do that if I'm just in a hurry or if he didn't get enough playtime, wiggle time, and I know he needs to get a little bit more of that physical exercise out. Then I'm gonna maybe see if he'll ride a bike. There he stood up without me wanting to, so I just gave that gentle lift and he sat right back down, which is awesome. Again, we're not giving any verbal cues. The only direction he's getting from me is through the contact pressure of that leash. Okay, when he's being good, there's no pressure, or when he's doing what I want, there's no pressure, and when he does move or adjust or do something I dislike, then I'm gonna give that gentle tug, flick, lift. There we go again, gentle lift, and back to no pressure. All right, so we did a run all along the bike, and then the last little bit of the bike ride, I just got off and I walked with the bike and him, and he also did pretty good there. So there, he's doing all right. So we're gonna move on, get a little bit of an aerial view for you. So he's a little bit ahead. You can see he's ahead of me. So I'm gonna give that flick, and that's where I want him, is right there with his head or his ears right about at my thigh. There's a little bit of head, so I'm gonna give a little flick. He's pulling on that leash a little flick. Anytime he puts tension on that leash, I'm gonna give that flick, right? Flick or a roll back. So I had to give him multiple flicks in a row, and he's like, yeah, I'm not getting it anymore. I'm just going ahead. Okay, a roll back, a couple of steps back. Okay, he's still wanting to rush ahead. There, see the change? That time he didn't rush right ahead. That's what we're looking for. Looking for these subtle changes to where he's more attentive to us. There, he's kind of distracted again. We're getting lots of new smells. So I'm gonna do a different tool. I'm gonna add the serpentine. Okay, so I'm just doing some zigzags, walking back and forth. He's like, I wanna smell. And I'm telling him, we'll smell at some point, but it's not right now. I don't need you to stop and smell right now. I need you to pay attention to me. You can see I'm doing a little flick there. So I'm doing a flick and the zigzags or the serpentines. Okay, little flick. He's pulling on that leash. There, that's a little better. He's starting to focus again. There we go. There, so this is what we want. Loose leash. Okay. Doesn't matter what there is. I don't want him pulling on me. Okay. I want him just to walk calm, cool, and collected here at my side. Stay nice and relaxed. There's a little bit of head, so I give that little flick. A little flick again. A little flick. There we are. So you can see where my hand placement is. It's back here by my back pocket. Okay, he's right here at my side. Okay, which we're doing pretty good. Let me bring it back. Front view here. There, he's pulling down for a smell. There we go, pretty good. So again, I'm just using all of those tools that I talked about in the last video. Okay, the lift and sit, the flicks, the rollback, the zigzag, and the turnaround. Okay, or the just direction change. Okay, those are the 5 main tools we use on the walk to help him focus on us and find that loose leash position here at our side. Okay, so and at the moment we're just gonna sit and wait, right? Sometimes you sit and stop and talk to the neighbor. Sometimes you stop to let the kids get out and play. Sometimes we stop to just stop along the way and take a little break or adjust something or whatever the case might be, right? We should be able to stop for whatever reason for as long as that reason takes and have him sit calmly, sit or lay in a calm, cool, collected manner. Okay, he's a little bit whiny. Okay, here he's gonna try to scratch at the leash here, and I don't want him to scratch at the leash. Okay, no, you can't scratch on that side either. He said, but if I can just wipe this thing off, this would be a lot easier. Okay, so we don't want him to learn he can scratch that leash off. Okay. there. So he's just going straight to scratching at that nose band, which I don't want. So I'll correct that. Just give that little flick. Okay, he's just saying, let's just be done with this already. Okay, and that's okay. Okay, it's new, right? It's new, it's different, it's uncomfortable, right? He doesn't get to do all the things he wants to do. He doesn't get to drag me down the road. Okay, and so we're just here hanging out. Just gonna back up a couple steps. We've got a new dog that's coming past, so we're just gonna sit here and be calm, cool, and collected while this dog comes and walks past us here. So again, we're just sitting here, hanging out, just going through life, just enjoying ourselves. Okay, he's focused on all the smells and things he can hear around us, which is fine. As long as he's in that sitting position, we're okay. But as soon as that bum gets up off the ground, then I'm gonna give one of those corrections. Okay, there it came up. All right. There it went down. So I kind of took a step forward there because he was all turned around. Okay, so while holding that lift pressure, I just kind of helped him readjust. So again, he's sitting calmly here. We've got a dog that's coming out across the street or here next to us. You can hear him start to whine. Okay, we're going to ignore the whining. We're going to ignore all the sounds that he's going to make. Okay, as long as he's in that sitting position and he's practicing physically that calm position, then mentally as well, he'll start to relax and calm and get worked through it a little bit. There we go. So we had our friend just walk past. He calmed down now. So now that he's not whining and he's not, oh, there's the whining again. So we're going to wait. Okay, when he's all done whining and he's all done kind of verbally complaining about how he doesn't get to do what he wants at the moment. Okay, I don't want him rubbing on me, so you kind of saw me just push him off with my leg there. Now that we're done with all the whining and the complaining and the rubbing and all that sort of stuff, oh, now we're gonna move on. Okay. So if I move or I do respond to his whining and the complaining and the barking or whatever the case might be, then I'm just giving him that, right? He thinks, oh, well, if I whine, then I get what I want. Or if I bark, then I get what I want. Okay, so I'm just going to ignore it and I'm going to wait till it stops happening and then I'm going to do what we want, right? We want to move on. We want to not just sit here anymore. We're ready to go, okay? We're not working on his time. We're working on our time. Okay, it's not up to him whether the kids are ready to get in the stroller and keep moving. It's not up to him whether we're done playing at the park or getting the mail or talking to the neighbor. Okay, he needs to learn how to wait. There, he's being pretty good. So we're gonna move on. Okay, there we go. So just moving on again. Slow and steady. There, he's paying attention over there. Giving that little flick. Okay, so he's pulling on me again, little flick. Little flick. Oh, sorry. There we go. Little flick. I don't mind that he wants to look. He can look around, but he just can't pull on me, right? He can be aware of his surroundings. I want him to know what's happening around him. I just don't want him responding. There, he's starting to pull me a little bit, so I'm just going to do 3 or 4 steps back. Got that roll back. There, he's getting ahead again. 3 or 4 steps back. There, that's better. So if you watch the slack in the leash here, there he's pulling, flick. There we go. Little flicks there. Look pretty good. All right, ready to go in the house here. So we're just gonna give that lift and sit. Okay, as we go in the house or across any threshold, just like a good gentleman should do, he's gonna wait for me. Okay, he's gonna let me go in first, and then I'm gonna give him a physical cue of that pressure, kind of a little tug, and then we're gonna go back to being relaxed on the inside. And we'll go over how we work through doors in another video. But here I go, I'm just gonna come in. We're just coming through the house now. Ready to go inside.
I don't know.
Yes.
He did?
Yes.
He did, yes he did.
So we're gonna go on the bed. Just Gonna go to that seated position. Okay. I'm gonna take off this nose piece. Again, we're leaving the neck piece around his neck for now, just so that we can catch him if he jumps off. Okay. This is where I'm gonna love on him. This is where he's gonna get all that physical affection. Okay. The good dog. He's doing so good. I wanted to rub him down really good. I don't know how awesome he's doing. He was wanting to scratch at that nose earlier, right? So I'm just going to give it a good rub where that nose band goes, just to make sure he knows that I'm going to take care of that for him. There we go. All right. Good rub down. Then I'm going to go back to those C-shapes. You can see he's got food here. Okay. If he wants to stand up to eat the food, he can. But see how? Or get a drink of water. There we go. So standing to eat or drink is okay. But if he's not actively eating or drinking, then he needs to go back into that seated or laying position. Okay? So we're just going to pay attention. So there, he stopped eating. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to give that distance pressure.
And you're going to call me before Boone leaves, and I'm going to tell you where we're at.
And then puts the bum down, and I'm going to walk away.
While you go aerating with us.
There we go. Bum down. Walk away. He's not allowed to get off the bed to eat. There, stood back up. I'm just standing directly in front of him. Wherever his face goes, that's where I'm going to stand. And I'm going to stand there until that bum goes down. So it never quite went down. He kind of half squatted, and he was like, oh, I'm going to go eat. So wherever that face goes, nope, you can't stop and eat now. Okay, so he's like, oh, I'm just going to ignore you, and then I'm going to go eat because that's allowed. Okay, now that he's laid down and settled, now that I'll walk away. Right? So he has to sit or he has to lay, but he can't be like, oh, you're trying to get me to lay down. I'm going to ignore you because I can eat standing up. That's okay. All right, that doesn't work. Okay, he's got to, if you start doing that physical or the distance pressure correction, okay, to get him to sit down, then we have to get him to fully sit, okay, before we walk away and let him move on to the next thing. All right, so we're just back in the house. Okay, we're gonna practice this time on the bed here. There, you got off, so we're gonna correct. Just get right in front of him. Again, I'm not touching him. I'm just physically putting my body in front of his face. Here, we're gonna hand the video off.
There, Scott's just staying right in front of his face. So when his face moves, Scott moves. All Rufus should be able to see is Scott's legs. So right now, Rufus is practicing avoidance. He's looking every which way. And then if you notice, he actually looked up at Scott, accepted it, and put his bum down. Now he stood back up again. There he goes. So those are just body cues, not anything that you actually need to learn, but just that's what his mind is saying. And so there, every time he lifts that bum up or he puts a body part off the bed, distance pressure is put in. And again, that's just where Scott does not touch him, but he walks up and he puts that distance pressure on him. Right now, Scott's going to love on Guppy. Oh, here Scott's going over, applying distance pressure, making that noise. As soon as his bum goes down, he releases that pressure. Rufus can eat if he wants to, but he does have to put that bum down first. Sometimes dogs will go into avoidance, and they'll be like, well, I don't want to sit, but I want to eat. Well, that's too bad. You've already started the correction process, so now you've got to be corrected, and then you're welcome to eat. So we don't want him to avoid the situation by eating. We don't leave the food out there all the time either. It's breakfast time. We'll put the food down now, and if he chooses not to eat, we will pick the food up later, so that it's not just there all the time. And then we'll offer it again at lunch, and then we'll offer it again at dinner. But he'll learn to eat when it's provided instead of wanting to snack all throughout the day. You can see we're just pushing limits today with sitting there for just a few seconds while Scott walks around and moves around the living room. Oh, he's petting Guppy again, and there he quickly got off, so Scott's going to quickly go over and correct. Here Rufus is trying the tactic of, look how cute I am, but I'm so cute, look how happy I am. And then he realized, okay, that tactic does not work. Even though I am cute and you do love me, you're going to stick firm with the boundaries there, Scott. It's loving on Guppy again. And it's okay for Guppy to get love, and even eventually today or tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, we'll start having Guppy move around the house, and Guppy has earned the freedom to play in the house when we would like her to, but Rufus has not. And so he's going to have to learn how to get over that because he has a brother in the house. The brother doesn't have any problems, so he's able to go around the home and do what he'd like, where Rufus will not be able to. He'll have to be on this bed or in his reflection space when he is in the home or on leash. He's trying to just push the boundary a little bit. And we're just going to keep practicing this. Scott's going to love on Guppy. Rufus is going to practice being calm, cool, and collected. I'm going to clean up the kitchen for breakfast. And we're just going to practice being calm, cool, and collected on our bed.